Hello, everybody. I'm Becky Sandoval Young, and I work here in the Career Center. And we are here today to talk to you about how to build a resume.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shelby. I'm a career advisor here at SSU, and I will also be helping with this workshop. So just really quickly, this is what we do at the Career Center. We offer career advising, career planning, and career exploration help. We also can help with resume and cover letter review and development. We also do interview preparation, graduate school exploration. We provide workshops. We also host career fairs and job fairs. And we also support our students and alumni with finding jobs and internships. If you don't already have a handshake, we highly recommend using it. It's a great place to look for jobs and internships. So here are the overview and goals of this resume workshop. So we're going to be talking about some resume basics, the purpose and use of a resume, formatting basics, how to build your resume, and how to polish up your resume as well. And at the end, we're going to provide some examples and resources to also help you after this workshop. So getting started, the first step in this whole workshop is to assess where you are currently at, right? So have you ever completed a resume, or do you have a resume that needs to be updated? So this workshop will be helpful for both of these people. So what is a resume? A resume is pretty much a professional document that provides a snapshot of who you are. You really want to include all of your qualifications, your hard and soft skills, your abilities, and your experiences. It's typically used to always apply for jobs, always to apply for internships. Sometimes it's used for scholarships, and a lot of the time it's used for graduate school. So it's really important to always have a resume and to always keep it up to date as needed. And of course, with jobs, when you submit your resume and your other application materials, it's used to get you an interview. It's not the job, but it's used to get you to that next step, to interview, and then hopefully get you that job offer. And we typically want you to use your resume to really focus on your future and not so much on your past. So what are you capable of doing for this company? We really want your resume to show that off. And lastly, it's just a great opportunity to make a great first impression, right? This is a document that's going to be needed to get you that interview, like I was saying before. So really, we want to make it so you're marketing yourself in the correct way to make you stand out as a candidate. Okay, so who reads your resume? So, some people will read it. It's either a hiring manager, future supervisor, an HR recruiter. It could be a hiring committee where there's multiple people with varying roles and relations to the position that will be looking over your resume. So there's a lot of different people that could be potentially looking at your resume. And next, sometimes it's even a software. So this could be an applicant tracking system. So this whole workshop is going to be super important for you because we are trying to get you to help your resume be as most relevant and relatable to the position you're applying for. And that's so if there is an applicant tracking system, they won't weed out your resume. So we really want you to use keywords. Say you're going into the marketing industry. You're going to want to use marketing related words on your resume. And that will also help you just seem like a great candidate, a great fit, and that you spent a lot of time tailoring your resume to that position and job. Okay, so here is kind of the example resume formatting that we really would like each of our students and alumni to use. So this is our resume 101. Here's the layout and organization. If you wanted to have a professional summary or an objective, that would go at the top. Next, we advise that you put your education section at the top if you don't have that, or underneath your objective or personal summary. Next, experience. And sometimes if you're later on in your educational journey, you can have a special category that's really relevant to the industry that you're applying for. This could be major related. There's a lot of ways that we can navigate that. So here is just Some other categories that we also recommend: some leadership and involvement. This could include, volunteer and community service. And then we also highly recommend that you have a skills and knowledge section. And we will talk more about this later. But usually this section is just hard skills. Okay, so some formatting basics. A lot of students don't know that we really want you to have your resume fitting on one page. So you really want to make it brief, skimmable, easy to read, and extremely organized. Next, like I was saying, education section towards the top, and it's the first section if you don't include an objective or a professional summary. Say if you're having trouble getting your resume on one page, you can try and balance the margins, make them even less than the typical 1 inch. You can go down to 0.5 on each side, also the top and bottom. And you really want to try and balance the use of white space. So if you have like big chunks of white space, we'll show you some examples later, it looks a little strange. And also you don't want the entire resume to be full of text. So it's an art to really develop your resume like this. But again, we'll talk later. Here are some standard fonts that we recommend. So Times, Cambria, Georgia, Arial, and sizes 10 to 12. So again, if you are having trouble fitting all of your text on one page, you can go all the way down to 10, but we don't recommend any size less than 10. And then try your best to be selective with your use of bold, italics, and underlined text. This is just so, our eyes don't go all over the place like, wow, there's a lot of bolding all over the place. And next, try to avoid templates. This will also help you manage to try to get all of your text on one page, and try your best to avoid fancy fonts, colors, and graphics. And always, always, always proofread. You don't want to have any typos or grammar errors. It's really important to show the people that you're submitting your resume and application materials to that you took the time to proofread. Okay, so here is an example resume. You can see that it has the word freshman at the top. So this is usually a freshman sophomore type of resume. You can see that they have their contact information at the top. They have an objective. What's their goal? They're seeking a work study position. Here's their education, their expected graduation date. They're a pre-major, so they're considering psychology. Here's their experience, work-related experience, their activity and honors, and technical language skills. So this is a very well, thought out resume. Good balanced white space, easy to read headings. It's just very skimmable and easy to read. So here's another resume, and a lot of people will have a resume that starts out like this. But what are some things that you think could be improved with this resume? There's a few things that I can see, and I'll go to the next slide, and it'll kind of help us out with this. So as you can see, it's great that they have their name at the top, but they only have their email as their contact information. So it's super important to at least give 2 types of contact methods for a recruiter, hiring manager, committee to reach out to you, right? And if you do have a LinkedIn, you could put that in there. You could put your city and state in there. Objective, obtain a teaching job. If you really want to have an objective, please go into further, specifics and be more descriptive, right? Next, you can see there's a few other areas of work over here. So, inconsistent formatting of positions. So the bullet points are a little bit off. Education, we really want to put this up at the top. There's no references. So this section at the bottom, you really don't need to put that because in an application, if they really do want you to have references and list them, then you'll put that on the application. So it's just really taking up space from your resume, and we don't really need you to do that. Next, unique qualifications. We really recommend that you don't put soft skills right here. So Soft skills are measurable, right? So this person thinks that they have a soft skill, that they're dependable. I would say I'm a pretty dependable person as well. So their dependability and mine is probably different. So that's, a soft skill. So we really highly recommend that you only put hard skills there. So these are measurable skills. This could be, programming, software knowledge, stuff like that. So we'll talk more about that later. And lastly, this resume, in our opinion, is not scannable. So it's hard to skim. It's hard to, read the headings. It's just, it takes a lot of time to really get the gist of this person's knowledge, experience, and education. So the typical amount of time a recruiter or hiring manager spends reading a resume is about 6 to 7 seconds. So we really want to help you make your resume skimmable, easy to read, organized, all that good stuff.
All right, so I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about these individual areas that Shelby has kind of talked to you about. Shelby, if you'll click on, I know that you have the master. So Shelby talked to you a little bit about your contact information. Absolutely, you want your name. You don't necessarily need to have your address. A lot of students are like 1801 East Cachati Avenue, Rohnert Park, California. Employers don't need that much information on your resume. If they need that much information, it'll be in your application packet, which goes along with your resume. If you include your address, it's just city and state. So Rohnert Park, California. You may not always include your address too. So if you're applying to something that's maybe in San Francisco and you're willing to drive, you may not want to include your address because someone may at the other end disagree with, they may not want to think you want to drive. So you take out that address piece. Just city and state if it's reasonable. We always want you to have a professional email address. And so your email address should not be surfergirl2073. Right? It needs to be first or last name, initial, something that sounds professional for employers. We don't recommend you using your Sonoma State email address as well, because that goes away at some point. And employers will hold your information in their database. And what if they have a perfect job for you in a year, right? And so your Sonoma State email may lose some traction there. So you definitely want to make sure you stay away from your Sonoma State email. You want to make sure you have a good voicemail if you put your phone number in there. And then a LinkedIn URL if you have one. Many people who are building their first round resume don't have a LinkedIn profile. Don't stress about that yet. But if you have one, great, put it in there. And you can see super easy. Frankie Freshman did a great job here. He did put his whole address in. Again, I usually just recommend Rohnert Park, California, and then the address component. All right. Let's move on to the next one. The objective. So objective reads exactly like Shelby showed you in that resume we don't want you to do. I would like to attain a teaching job. Well, duh, that's why you click the button, the blue apply button. And the idea of objective came from when people used to mail in resumes to an organization, and then someone in HR would pull it out and have to know what pile to put their resume in, right? And that's not where we're at. You apply now to a very specific job. So having a very specific objective that says something like attain a teaching job is really not super helpful. So we want you to move more towards something that looks like a professional summary, which is this bottom one. Wine business, senior marketing focused, skilled or marketing focused, skilled in marketing research, analytic outreach, and event coordination. What this does is it provides context to who you are and gives you the employer more information about you in a way that they may not find in the rest of your resume, right? So we want it to complement your resume, add more information, but not take away or be just kind of some wasted space, right? So think about what you're adding. This is a really easy way to tailor your resume to an individual job is by rewriting the professional summary each time. So education, Shelby said I did a great job. We definitely want it at the top of your resume. At this point, 99% of college students, your education is the most important part of your resume, and so you want it at the top of your resume, right? It's a checkbox some employers have to have, right? I need a bachelor's degree, or I need them to be enrolled in school to give them an internship. Or if they're looking off campus and you're looking for an off campus job, you being a college student may be the differential with you getting the interview or not, because you talk a little bit about the fact that you have this experience and you have some work ethic being in a college student. So it gives you kind of a bump. And so that's the first thing we want to see. Things that should be in the university name. If you graduated from a JC or you transferred over, you'll include both colleges in there, the expected graduation date. So it should not be. So a lot of times students come in and they'll say, I attended school from, August 2021 to May 2023. We really just need that May date for school. So just put your expected there. Minor if you have one. Your GPA only really if it's a 3.0 or higher. Some majors, if we talk about hard sciences, some business majors, you may only want to put it on there if it's a 3.5 or higher. Again, if you've done study abroad, any of those other things, you can see that. And here's some really good examples to the left or to the side of the page that will help you out, right? This one says Sonoma State University, Ronald Park. Also says it's their pre-major considering biology. So if you're not yet declared, this is a great way to talk about that and their scholarships they received, as well as you can see this other person has spent some time at the JC before coming over and how they navigated that. All right, next page. So your experience category. So this is really everything that comes after education, right? So this is the big bulk part of your resume. And so students come in and they're really worried, right? I haven't had a job yet, but I need a job. I need a resume. So what do I put on my resume? Well, it doesn't have to be a job. You can have anything that has shows that you have done the criteria necessary to get that individual job. So if you've done a volunteer experience, if you've taken a class that you've done some of this work in, anything that gives you some space to be able to talk about why you can meet that job, you're going to put that in there. And as we move on to the advanced level resume workshop, we really talk about how to be strategic in these. But at an early resume, you may just have 2 or 3 experiences, and that's totally okay. So this is how you might see it looking, is that marketing consultant with a location of the job. And this person happened to have that winery was in Tuscany, and then the years that you took it. So you'll put the date you started and the date you ended. If you're still in it, that experience, you'll say present. And then you list underneath it through achievement statements. And Shelby's going to talk to you later about what achievement statements is, but about 3 to 5 bullet points that talk about the work that you've done in that area that show the things that you are capable for doing for an employer. So some other categories you can have on there: leadership involvement, certificates and licenses. Any sort of related coursework could be its own category. You could break out categories based off of types of jobs that you're applying for. So there's a lot of different ways you can navigate it. You just want it to be related to the job itself. It might be really great that you're a water skier and that you go and do that every Saturday, but if you are applying to work for a medical facility, they don't necessarily mind or care that you are a water skier. But if you are applying to like Sports Weekly, that would be really important, right? And so it's again knowing what you're going to use your resume for and using your experiences to best highlight the work that you have done so an employer can see that. So Shelby alluded to this. There's 2 types of skills that you have on your resume. You have hard skills and soft skills. In the skills category, so if you have a category of your resume that is skills, we only want them to be hard skills. And really they're things that we can like name, right? I'm fluent in another language. I know these computer programs. I know point of sales. I know Excel. I know how to use it, Instagram, right? These things that like 1 or 2 words you and I are going to understand and have the same context. As we move over to soft skills, You might be a great team player. I might be a great team player. Shelby is a great team player, right? But how we do that is different. And so anything that needs to be explained, we're going to leave off the skills category and then we're going to embed those in our achievement statements up above in those experience categories. And Shelby's going to talk to you kind of about what that looks like. But it's really important that we leave those hard skills to be things that are concrete and obvious in just one or two words so that the employer, right, again, in that skimmable space, understands what you're saying and they're not losing the context of your words when you say something like team player. So, one of the things that we first want you to think about is, have you ever had a job before? Right? That's a great place to start with a resume. Have you volunteered, participated in a club or organization? Even if it's just minimally, this is totally fine to have on an early resume, right? We're going to get it on there. We're going to start sharing that experience. Have you held a leadership position, right? Sometimes even a group leader for a class, if you've run a group a whole semester, that would be a great leadership experience to have on your resume. Any certifications or awards, right? If you're applying to summer camp and you are CPR certified or you have that lifeguard certification, you're going to want to put that in there. Now, I wouldn't put your lifeguard certification on if you're applying to be a busser at a restaurant, right? That doesn't necessarily make sense. So, again, aligning up the things that what your employer is going to want to see with the skills and certifications that you have. So some of you, like a lot of students, have older resumes, right, that come in and they don't know what to do now that they're a college student. First thing we do, just get rid of high school. Just take it out. Many high schoolers use the resume at the bottom of, or their education at the bottom of the resume, and that makes sense because if a high school diploma is all you have, your experiences are going to be what get you hired. In this case, your education is important, right? So we move that to the top. Any new involvements that you've had since you've been in high school, even if you've just started an experience here, you're going to put that in there. And then we want you to consider phrasing, right? Can we use the word leadership involvement instead of extracurricular, right? What other ways can we adjust things? Can we change, volunteer to service? Um, and then one of the big key ones is utilizing achievement statements. And Shelby's, I can tell, ready to go and talk about that. And the other place is really removing those soft skills. That's the number one way to, I think, help you stand out is remove those soft skills, leave those hard skills, and then use these really great achievement statements, which Shelby will talk to you about.
Awesome. So, yes, so here is the formula for an achievement statement. So, it starts with your action verb, and then you add your project or task, and then you add the results. So, here are some example achievement statements. Coordinated, action verb. 3 fundraising events for local shelters. That's the project or task. And the results are it raised more than $8,000 and greatly improved community awareness. So a lot of students will come to us with a resume with, decent achievement statements, but it will only be like 3 words, like provided customer service. So we are asking you to use this formula to go into further detail and to specify what you did and also what were the results, right? You did this project or task, but how did it help the company? What did you achieve, right? So I'm going to show you a couple more examples. So developed and implemented, those are great action verbs. Social media outreach plan, and it resulted in 500 new followers over the semester. So it's really showing you how much they achieved, right? That's super impressive. Another one is organized, which is a soft skill, right? Educational and social programs. And the result was it developed a cohesive community on the floor for 60 residents. So a lot of students will have trouble coming up with these achievement statements or brainstorming action verbs. So at the end, we're going to provide you with some resources to our resume guide. And there's a ton of great information in there for you to use to help you brainstorm how to create these achievement statements. So like I was saying, here's a more simple achievement statement on the left. So this is a sales associate. They helped customers, used cash register, made displays, did stock and inventory. So those are awesome things this student or alumni has achieved in this job. But we really, like I've been saying, we really want you to go into further detail by using that formula. So here are some examples of what you could say as achievement statements. So advise customers on product selection in a fast-paced retail environment. That's awesome. Created merchandise displays for storefront on a weekly basis. Manage inventory spreadsheets, ensuring accuracy and completeness. Independently opened slash closed store and performed nightly cash deposits. Employee of the month recipient for 2 consecutive months. So, these are a lot of achievement statements, which you don't necessarily need to create, 5. But if you could, that's awesome. And again, try your best to use that formula. If you have trouble, you can email us, you can set up an appointment with us, and we can help you, brainstorm and really, really help you develop your achievement statements. So here is another example of a office assistant position. So, answered phones, maintained office equipment, filed paperwork. So let's use that formula. So action verb plus project or task plus the results. So provided, that's the action verb, customer service, that's the project or task via phone and email to over 100 clients per day. So that's huge. A lot of people will not put in, numbers or percentages or any type of data into their achievement statements over here. But this is super impressive. It shows companies, recruiters, hiring managers, like what you are capable of achieving. So if you could put in those types of stats, that's huge. The next one is implemented, action verb, office inventory management system, and it resulted in a 25% decrease in company supply costs. Like, you know, that's just impressive. The last one is maintained electronic and paper records of over 1,000 clients. Like that, this is showing all of your soft skills in these achievement statements. You're organized, you're able to multitask, you're time efficient, So if you can add those types of words into your achievement statements as well, that's totally awesome. So a lot of people will come to us with resumes with the skills section, like Becky was talking about, and a lot of the skills will be soft skills. So we don't want you to take off those soft skills. We just want you to input them into these achievement statements. Again, if you need any help, we are here to answer any questions regarding that. So, like I was saying earlier, we do have resume resources. We have a ton for you. So, the resume guide is on our Career Center website. Here is the link, career.sonoma.edu/students/resumes. If you're having trouble after reviewing our resume guide and other, resume materials, and you want us to review your resume, please schedule an appointment with us. We are open for you. We're here for you. We really want to help you succeed. And here is how to find us. So you can schedule an appointment via your Lobo Connect. You can also explore the Career Center Student Toolkit in Canvas. And you can also, if you're having any trouble, using your Lobo Connect or finding any of these resources, please email the Career Center at sonoma.edu. They can help you, schedule an appointment, receive any of these resources. And then here is our website, which has a ton of resources for students, but also alumni as well. So thank you so much for watching this resume. Again, please reach out to us. We are here for you.